You wake up every morning thinking someone out there cares about your struggles. But the truth is, no one cares. No one is waiting to hear your excuses. No one is losing sleep over your failures. The world moves on, with or without you. You can sit there and cry about how unfair life is. Or you can stand up and do something about it. Because life doesn't hand out sympathy medals. Life doesn't pat you on the back for trying. Life respects results. Look around. People are too busy fighting their own battles. They're not thinking about your problems. They don't care if you quit. And they won't rescue you if you fall. That's your job, your responsibility, your fight. And here's the harsh truth. Nobody cares until you win. When you're broke, struggling, invisible, they look past you. But the moment you rise, the moment you show results, suddenly everyone wants to know your story. So stop waiting for people to care. Stop expecting support. Stop crying for validation. Because no one is coming to save you. It's only you. Your effort, your grind, your resilience. That's what will separate you from the rest. You want respect. Earn it. You want freedom. Build it. You want to be remembered. Do something worth remembering. The truth is no one cares. And that's not a curse. It's freedom. Because once you accept that, you stop chasing approval and you start chasing greatness. No one cares about your excuses. Only your results. You can have the best reasons in the world for why you didn't get it done. But when the sun sets, nobody is clapping for reasons. Nobody is proud of excuses. People only notice the outcome, the work you put on the table, the results that speak louder than any explanation. Think about it. If you're late to work because of traffic, does your boss really care that the road was blocked? No. Because someone else left earlier and made it on time. If you tell your professor you couldn't finish the assignment because your laptop broke, do you think they'll say, "Oh, that's okay. You don't need to hand it in"? No. Because another student went to the library, borrowed a computer, and finished. The world doesn't grade your reasons. It grades your effort and execution. In the gym, you can explain to your coach why you missed training. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe your body hurt. But the weights don't care. The barbell doesn't care. You either lift it or you don't. And that's life in every area. The world doesn't adjust to your feelings. It reacts to your performance. Look around. When you see someone successful, nobody ever asks them, "What excuses did you make along the way?" They ask, "How did you do it? How did you win?" the spotlight shines only on results. Excuses vanish into thin air, forgotten the moment they're spoken. And let's be real. Everybody has reasons to quit. Everybody has struggles. Someone out there is fighting cancer, raising kids alone, working double shifts, and still finding time to chase their goals. So when you say you're too tired, too busy, too stressed, remember this: someone else with the same or even worse problems is out there grinding, delivering, showing up. And that's why people respect them. Not because of their pain, but because of what they built despite the pain. Your excuses might feel comforting in the moment. Telling yourself, "I'll try tomorrow," or "I had no choice," may calm your mind for a few hours. But reality doesn't move for comfort. Reality moves for results. The rent still needs to be paid. The bills keep coming. The opportunities keep passing. Excuses don't hold back the world. They only hold back you. So when you feel the urge to justify why you didn't push harder, ask yourself this: if no one cares about my excuses, why should I? Why waste energy explaining why I failed, when I could use that same energy to fight for a win? People will forgive 100 excuses the moment you show them one undeniable result. But until then, nobody cares. People are too busy with their own struggles to worry about yours. It sounds cold, but it's the truth. Everyone you see walking down the street, every face you pass by, they all carry invisible battles you know nothing about. That coworker who seemed distracted in the meeting, maybe she's worried about how to pay rent this month. That friend who didn't call you back, maybe he's fighting depression silently. That neighbor who barely says hello, maybe he's dealing with a sick parent at home. Everyone is drowning in their own storms, and because of that, they don't have the time or energy to constantly carry yours. You might think the world owes you attention, sympathy, or support. But the reality is, people are already overwhelmed managing their own chaos. Imagine someone working a 12-hour shift, rushing home to cook dinner for their kids, trying to catch a few hours of sleep before doing it all again tomorrow. Do you think they have the mental space to sit and cry about your missed opportunities? No. Not because they're heartless, but because they're barely holding themselves together. Look at it this way. When you're drowning, you thrash, you fight, you try to breathe. In that moment, can you save another person drowning next to you? No, you can't, because you're struggling to survive yourself. That's what life is like for most people. Everyone is trying to keep their head above water, And that means they cannot always care about your problems as much as you want them to. This is why complaining gets you nowhere. Telling everyone how unfair life is doesn't move them, because they're too busy whispering the same thing to themselves about their own life. People won't stop their grind to cheer you up every time you fall. And honestly, they shouldn't, because the lesson here is not to depend on them. The lesson is to depend on yourself. Think about a student in class. One fails the exam and spends the whole night crying about how hard the paper was. Another student who has the same teacher, the same exam, the same challenge, goes back home, studies twice as hard, and passes the next one. The second student doesn't have fewer problems. They just decided not to expect sympathy. They knew everyone else was too focused on their own grades to care about theirs. Or imagine being in a race. You trip, you fall, and you sit on the track hoping the crowd will run to pick you up. But while you're waiting, the other runners are already crossing the finish line. The audience claps for the winner, not the one who sat on the track explaining why they couldn't finish. And that's life in its rawest form. People are too busy with their own struggles to worry about yours. And that's not a reason to feel bitter. It's a reminder that your fight is yours alone. Once you understand that, you stop waiting for rescue and you start building the strength to rescue yourself. The truth is no one cares, and that is exactly why you must rise. The world will not stop spinning for your pain. The world will not bend for your excuses. The world will not hand you greatness wrapped in a silver box. The world rewards those who refuse to break, are those who choose to fight, those who dare to stand, when everything inside them screams to sit down. You don't need the world to clap for you. You need to clap for yourself. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself when no one else does. Greatness was never built on approval. It was built on persistence. Success was never handed to the loudest complainer. It was handed to the one who stayed quiet, disciplined, focused, and relentless until their results became too loud to ignore. Remember this: every champion you admire was once invisible. Every leader you respect was once doubted. Every story of victory you love to hear was once a story of pain, silence, and lonely nights. They were ridiculed. They were underestimated. They were ignored. But instead of begging for people to care, they used that silence as fuel. They turned that neglect into fire. And they built something so powerful that the same people who doubted them had no choice but to applaud. You must decide today. Will you be the person who wastes life waiting for someone to care? Or will you be the person who takes control, who carries their own weight, who refuses to stop until they win? You are stronger than the obstacles, louder than the doubts, bigger than the excuses. You are capable of becoming everything they said you couldn't be. But only if you stop begging for sympathy and start demanding more from yourself. Pain is temporary. Excuses are forgettable, but results are eternal. When you show results, the world listens. When you show results, the world pays attention. When you show results, even your silence speaks louder than words. So rise every morning with this fire in your chest. No one cares, and that is your freedom. No one cares, and that is your advantage. No one cares, and that is your chance to write a story that will inspire millions. The stage is empty. The pen is in your hand, and the world is waiting for one thing only: your results.